Um, I love the newspapers of the 90s. I love the true shapers of society. The Republic of Plato on fire in Greece. Harumph of the painful ire within thee, and not without irony. His style was free as the villanelle, as a witch's spell. Their tribal glee as you visit hell. These minds that leap over citadels into the ciel orange, dwell in songs entirely of the moment. His rhymes green as the ocean. This mind-free zone is fun, where I'm free to own a gun and speak this through the technology. A rebus over music awkward as me, a weakness for the truth our doctored beliefs, their genius reduced to the body. These unbalanced humors sounds like the dream of Vancouver, till riding these great green waves I careen doomward. No Japanese maples, no gravity's rainbow, no more jabs under the table, no more raps unexplainable, no noumena, no phenomenon, no moon above, no tombstones, no true love, no blues alone, no group hug, no news from home, no more moths lively among the hydrangeas, no trying to remember what my name was, no Arthur, no Andrew, no Ambrose, no Amos, no names, no date of birth, no mazes, no paperwork, no more taxes, no more death, no form or pattern, no warm breath. Alas. Experimental as Martian medicine, these intellectuals of Armageddon, running from the mind and becoming Father Time, progressing as the blight, believing himself the night. Giant fans helicopter the air to those rappers who dare to slay Goliath. The blood's not dry yet, and forgetting the butterfly effect, upset the fragile spider's web, stepping on hands that would fire at his head, terminating rhyme fest. How shall our minds be led, as fucking to their deep shame, blushing as the trees aflame? These people are all the same. Being grand as the Rocky Mountains, an evil man who shot his accountant, these demon scams and lost thousands, a street black as the font or fountain of meaning we babble, this travel of the basketball through the peace region, a Picasso of 3D cinema, taking by storm the form, breaking morals and norms, exploring their composition, a Satan deploring reform, mourning in opposition, spreading cholera as hitmen, assassinate such literary men as Salman Rushdie, Mordecai Richler, Michael Ondaatje, whose warm style of literature enrages the simpler poets of limbo, whose pages of winter snow crystals were frozen to the window, cold and invisible.
Coffee shop sophist, soft as a sofa, tongue made of velvet, even in the toxic rhetoric of meritocracy, not even understanding the hypocrisy of the privilege to knowledge and a decent education. Hesitation in the voice from now, questioning the sacred. Changes in my personality, I'm not a god, but I'm an analogy, an allostatic load of logical fallacies. Stressed from the doubts, I used to feel that too. That a Holy Ghost got me mazed to see through. So I'm unstoppable now. You spent too much time thinking, never even made a boat, just planned it, now you're sinking. Stinking up the place with your complacency. Skunk-faced runs race, only when they read centuries of thinkers. But they still aren't wise, never left the hind place to see with their own eyes. Grown-ass adults with the pulse still sitting. Every day I take the nature in like it's a mission. Some can't think and others can't make a decision, while I shoot forward with precision, like a dart to a bullseye. Art, this is full time. Every verse and image, most snaps taken from memories. Best way to ensure that the viewer ain't forgetting me, from the touch screen down to the lettering. Stay on your MacBooks while I pack books worth of poetry, in touch with the earth like a druid. Yeah, you're just funny word fluent.
Disbelievingly devoted. Synesthesia, these poets, dressed in purple blue sound, wrestling verses to the ground, losing my purchase as winter lost to spring. I'd put my trust in philosopher kings, these late Heidegger citing, strange wiry Vikings, weak as the similes, asleep and dreaming as Pimpsy, and believed evil as infinity, finite as love in the multiverse, highlighting the funny words. Our youth making purses in a factory, just a toothache to the birth of tragedy. These early Nietzsche types, reading the classics till they needed glasses, and attractive as the platypus with valid lust, unmindful of our passage into dust, with a pragmatic touch, as the addict to her drug, so the rapper's in love with language, the ache of it, knowing that even the sacred changes, even the sacred changes. Even the sacred changes change. Even the sacred changes change. Even the sacred changes change. Obnoxious as talk of the unconscious, positing a structure where there is none, offering seminars on the pun. These images kinetic as the kick through the lyrics into your spirit, unafraid of obvious rhymes if they'll carry his point, as poverty to crime, so hilarity to his appointment as jester, juggling letters and wild sentences, as questioning my endlessness, dry wetness and high lowliness, divine empress and vile ghostly speck, sprinkled on the rainbow bridge, king of all the atheists. Even string theories inadequate to explain their tragic pain. Black is the day we take their culture away, their Athens heyday, their ancient sculptures we break. Prosaic his approach to poetry, so carnal as the real, garbled as the spiel, martyred as a people, these artists under evil, this governmental illness underwhelming the illiterate, this literature. I'm looking for drugs. I'm off to get that China White, that fentanyl, to feel alright. As a heavenly stampede of unicorns, irrelevant these galaxies, newly born, burning in this ink blackness, minor as the missing cat's hiss, cunning as the punning and limerick, buttoned up and running through the blizzard quickly, whitening this Montreal concrete, inviting this song on strong weed along a street, ending in tragedy as the creature of the Black Sea, this glistering leviathan, the unconscious man within us all, surfacing amid alcohol and tickling with the tongue tip, these sunlit labia, fading in the lovely memory fuzzy, such trouble these drugs, lovely as the smell of money. This red runny overdose, death troubles me. Don't be afraid, it's just a ghost. You're seeing a ghost. Illegal his passage through the window of your attic, appearing in the candlelit night. A silhouette standing to your right, standing for your rights, haunting reality as God's ghost, flaunting his vanity these fall clothes. Your flickering light won't protect you. Your home is this rapper's delightful new venue for an undead few, and those dead as the truth, ghostly as I, poetry fiery as the folio, the coast we behold, splashing its tidal refrain, rapping inside your brain, laughing in the fires of Satan, laughing and dancing as the salamander, policing the police as the Black Panthers, his politics obvious, this ballad of the rapper, more radical than a Black Lives Matter chapter. I'm Malcolm X, holding this sushi menu to the light, condemning the cruelty of the knife. The anonymous alcoholics, gin and tonic, ironic. This sophist, his profit off the vomit of knowledge. These affects and percepts assembled to astonish, these aspects of her sex and gender soon abolished, disassembling old computers, telling the cold truth in verse, universal as anxiety, the purity of my soul, withstanding their groovy mind control, this Britannia sushi dynamite roll. These green trees we mean in the heat of a weird dream. These tears we weep cleaning the street greet you as steam. Ici mes écrits, écriture féminine, believing what I see and as sure of what I mean as the queen. Royal, these rhymes for her subjects join me in flying above the text. What's next? The joy of desire, success, love and sex. A neurosurgeon making incisions with the brainy precision of a Roland Barthes. His painting this vision of what postmodern art should be.
Since my miraculous dealing parents' birth, absurd being one of the boys breaking through the wall yelling, oh yeah. The drugs I did they didn't dig helped unlearning, I'm evidence. Smoking pot isn't as bad as Pew ideals. Weekly, monthly psychedelics, burning chessmen reels to montage sequences. Last Buffalo in Nebraska, Lone Ranger. Speaking rule cell art, Auden 8. Poppy seed muffins, Heidegger and Sartre wrote. Father John Misty had an epiphany that song's nature can't be direct. It's supposed to be easy to write, yes, but hint at something. Icarus falling out of the ship's bows, fiddling my shanties, gasp, looking up, dove in after, found Atlantis, or it's what he found. Shaking hands with Aquaman bureaucrats unimpressed. They're the ones who ingrain suffering. Yeah. Unknown citizens convince them you one of the boys, airing out before going inside from smoking. Not lying when they asked what you were doing. You must be joking. Yeah. Yo. Plot inspirations and resolutions in private. Yo. Plot inspirations and revolutions in private servant orders. Yo. Plot inspirations, resolutions, revolutions in private servant quarters. Yo. Pull the string to stop the train. Pull the string to stop the train.
Seagulls swirling in the wind, as walking we murmur myths, clouds flowing overhead as the dead continue in their simplicity, the unfolding of our history, minuscule in this infinity, inverting time as tenet, returning to my inception, serving limes in segments, wording the vibe of his essence in a babbling stream of thought in the black sleep of God. This blue balloon refusing the truth and unfolding serene in some corner of a dream. Hectic collage tasting through the straws these shakes, watching Drake slowly die in the eyes of so many. I had not thought life had undone so many. Overvaluing cocaine as the snob, deriding proletarian indecorum, the man with the purple guitar,
the prince, in a black car, in black Hamlet garb, photocopied by the window, this Narcissus, his fentanyl death dizzying the drizzies, these Canadian literati, submitting in dactylic hexameter, a black iguanodon dining, black pterodactyls, taking to the black sky as a black sloth to heroin. The maquillage of their poetry, as our prince swims headlong into the light.
As the jacuzzi bubbles, untruly subtle, the memory disintegrates in my disinterest. These peripheral nothings of everyday living, these insect bites and internet fights. Mbaruk's art as the aardvarks on Noah's Ark was art. The dark truth of the stars, their hard-hearted, unknowing part in our art, thrown under the bus, though bold as Fun Crusher Plus. This glitter so finely applied, the winter your dynasty died. As bone dryly this irony he murmurs, this proscribed verser, drinking red wine. A symptom of death and decline. These clever rhymes, this system of letters and lines. That's poetry. That's poetry. That's poetry. That's poetry. Zombies from the tomb to TV, so unique. His earthquake greatness, entire worlds torn as pages. In his literary tape, this Pandaemonium, collecting around the phony men, who lift their eyes to the sky blue, who sit and lie outside the high school, these Pink Floyd stoner teens, unthinking of what Homer means. Prescribing an abortion of the toxic elements in literature, teleported into this alternate dimension of literature. Critics, fastidious, dismissing as insipidness. Critics, fastidious, dismissing as insipidness. Literature, these flames, signature ways, unchangingly the river. These flames, these signature ways, unchangingly the river. These flames. So you've become a surrealist. Labyrinths at your most wordy, streets at your simplest. Be careful what you say when the doctors take an interest. They'll attach a diagnosis to your ghost flesh and make that the defining fact of you. No way back to their kinder attitude. Rather, this lens through which you're conditionally accepted into into friendships you quickly collected and bent into withered S's. This SS of Hitler, these snakes green in the green grass. Maybe he should make 18 tracks, infinity raps, delivered in the cruel knowledge he's lost his head. Dinner's the usual hospital thoughtlessness. In the psych ward, cameras are disallowed. If people saw, would they be proud? Trapped prophets who read the clouds and preach the coming end time. The psychotic caught and released, the globe warmer every time. This wild daughter of the streets, the voices in her head rhyme. I never heard voices though, ever in my life. I never heard voices though, ever in my life. If they could, they'd Holocaust us, chop through the glottis, and stop this truth uttered as the coin. Their surrender to the point of their residential re-education indoctrination, labeling this red velvet rap crazy as the mental health act. See, your brain doesn't belong to you, not in the province's view, drowning the psyche in medication, stealing years from the patient. Cruel punishments, unusual suffering, strapped to the bed. I'd rather be rapping instead, danger to no one. This flailing opponent, pinned to the linoleum by police, because he knows somewhat better what grief is. Like a hungrier Dante establishing the borders of hell, distracting my former self from the wisdom of sobriety, the schism of society, the schizo-anxiety and bipolar borderline depression, with its delusions and hallucinations, soothing as the blue paintings of Picasso, foreverly combing my afro. In this collage scribbled in the notebook of a pirate, drinking a cold diet Pepsi, dying of sexy, these sex organs scribbled upon the wall. The dawn of falls, erection of protection, the nonsense of all belief and introspection. These philosophies scribbled on the stall.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil.
Like a statue of Marx, this Andrew Mbaruk, standing in the dark, this value unmarketable as his heart, sparklingly smart if we're to believe the doctors. This evil we honor, this Oedipal father. And what are we but the dream of water, sang Andrew Mbaruk in his sleep. And what are we but the dream of whatever, sang Andrew Mbaruk to his sheep, numberless, slumberless. gravity with dry dirt. This freak flag his desire unfurls, his fiery words creating entire worlds. As Bob Dylan at his creative peak, swimming in the lake or sea, this amphibious record or tape is free to those who would touch infinity, throwing up liquidity. These strange raps changing hands with his simple feet, wrinkling the sheets, drinking at 3, employing English as the language poets, destroying English as the major poets, Canadian poets, lazy poets. A day in the forest, flames we ignore, even breathing smoke. The heat of the stove, this troposphere, the burning bush as Moses hears these words as wood and smoke and fear. No human purpose in this carnage. Oatmeal, the gruel we serve to this artist, going weird and proving perfect as stardust.
Or the number 3. The number 3. 3.
Soul, body, mind, 3 aspects of the human. Father, son, ghost, 3 magics of Newman. 3 classes for the student, part-time at 3 rap institutions. These Beastie Boys, 3 rappers and Rick Rubin. 3 more tasks of the Herculean variety. 3 meals of perfect verbiage, his wordy constitution. 3 years of earthly service, this incomplete education. 3 mirrors serving a purpose in his street education. 3 limousines in the garage, 3 guillotined for the cause. 3 ideas unfolding in triads, Dionysus and 3 Maenads. Gather round the fire for a story, rather proudly mired in glory. The handsome bard's odyssey as avant-garde comedy, erased, forgotten as space. This dark sea we float within, as calmly gone unstrung opium. The bard takes us deeper into the tale. Will our heroes prevail? Gather round the fire for a story, as the mountain higher than your trees, menacing round the fire frying, as strings of the lyre lying, with the truth as the spine of our fire tale, that violence making the child cry and wail, cheering the teenagers, reminding the men of their grief and failure. For millennia we've been telling the same stories, involving ourselves in allegory, as we delve into our 40s, crafting a perfect poem as Proust, ranting his words formed uncouth by the mouth. Gather round the fire for a story, as the town desires its normalcy, propping up the status quo, this propaganda fashionable. These stories that resolve and reopen, these souls that dissolve in the ocean, these Poseidons striving for closure, and finding that desire growing older, unquenched. So it goes for all things in the end, for anyone with any sense. this Othello dishonorable, and dissembling Iago, refining his shtick, his bile to their wit. These nihilistic pricks, these islands, the tips of a volcanic mountain range, the romantic sound of rain, canceling the date to masturbate. These David Foster Wallace readers as hateful holocaustic leaders, trumpeting their orange sky as getting drunk before we die. The most destructive metaphor is nigh. The ghosts of an eccentric foreign tribe, exposed to death, ignored beside the phonotext's important I, with no specific referent. I lift the soul into its element. I live my role in the present tense. This I with no specific referent. Inside this home within his heaven essential. These women and men of the temple, symbolizing a religion algebraic. These Lacan's papers, involved in the earth to a degree, as a bomb in the university.
Blasts of memory, headless sensory. Feel it in my body whenever you mention these words. Quenching deep thirst when the recipe works. Reaches end in a rented hearse. Pen a new verse. Laughing faster in the chapter after. My greener pasture is a greener pasture. Kill a law and then we kill a master. Get the answer and we pass it backwards. Scrappy badgers versus flashy bastards. A path to magic filled with trashy plastic. That's just the way the cookie smashes. The way the stars scattered. The way the matter splashes. A dookie pageant is a proof of madness. Seeing beauty flashes, seedy patches. Be the mattress when you feel like napping. Eat an apple with a worm and it isn't tragic. One day we'll be mastodon ashes. Fossilized cabbage, scratch marks on unwritten passages. Unseeable semaphore, undrinkable reservoir. Trying to sound cool to who we leaving this message for. The unicorn or centaur on the peasant's porch. The metaphor warmly sports a pleasant torch. Press record as we send the spores. Rap stegosaurs chewing on some sycamores. I said before, sitting on the desert floor. I wish there was, but there isn't more.
These church bells hurled pell-mell, burning in hell, till returning as a relic with purpose and Telemachus, murdering insolent suitors and wordlessly printing his rumors, the truth about telepathy. This pseudo-Gutenberg felling trees, regretting letters on leaves, imprinting his apology. Trembling green, mercy me, the ecology. This romance, holding hands and watching the sea. Cold as the past, these sharks eat. Biting styles into substance, igniting these rhymes so damned fustian. And crying I'm in love again. So many move my heart as human art, from cavemen to Petrarch, radiation from a red star, the taste of a cake remembered from afar, future maneuvering among electric cars, Drake making straight these twisted bars, our camaraderies, slowly climbing over giant fallen trees, bone-dried these noble rhymes, bald as the eagle, whose beak and talons antagonize their reefer madness, scurrying and squirreling up and down the trees, serving you words, the sound of freedom's wild style of writing automatic, as 9 miles of lightning shock this abbot, vehicles thrown at the steeples, these real ghosts folded into your ear holes, flexible yogic, mentally encoded, scent of roses, the sensual Ovid, his art of love. these on the sand, these words, temporary graffiti, these rappers, these sensations sad, these gems they snatch, the time stoppers, the time hoppers, hip hopping from year to strange year, something queer as Shakespeare, love and fear, this nameless vizier, blasting noise through a green telephone, as in the passive voice we were led to roam. We had no choice but to leave the dead alone, crashing the Rolls Royce into their geodesic dome. And I have no filter, admiring time's flow as my afro silvers. The sunlight murderous, so unlike the earth's dust, swirling through the beams, urgent through the trees, verbal as the dream work, and the purple speech of the clerk. Sometimes I wonder what his poetry'd be worth in a world prescribing war where peace would work.
Nowadays everybody talks and talks, create a wall of sound but never walk the walk. Tricked into thinking there's original thoughts, needing minimal bots for the subliminal plot. Communicate to the humans, yo.
If David Bowie was a black star, I may be going to Zanzibar. A lazy poet, his flashing art. A lazy poet, this Andrew Mbaruk. This smart useless talk, the heart's stupid thoughts, as moon rocks you collect. For I'm a rapper as Snoop Dogg or Jay-Z. His adventure madcap, taking a battle axe to this sapid rap, till I steal my rhymes back, dying at last in the final act of To Pimp a Naiad, mindful of the trap. Rapping's my this is Spinal Tap.
Thank you very much.
I ghost wrote for Drake and Kanye West, for the mainstream of consciousness, smoking a dime, floating in time, this transvestite black Jedi, standing to your left, stabbed to death. Violent words, rhyming worthy of the Scotia Bank Giller nonsense, floating in a tank fulfilled with nonsense, going insane for the thrill of nonsense.
Yo, nowadays everybody talks and talks, create a wall of sound but never walk the walk. Tricked into thinking there's original thoughts, needing minimal bots for the subliminal plot. Nowadays everybody talks and talks, create a wall of sound but never walk the walk. Tricked into thinking there's original thoughts, needed minimal bots for the subliminal plot. Every word I ever uttered is useless, indoctrinated with abusive rubrics by intrusive movements is a nuisance. Nuance is soon lost. Do you want some new props? I get around like Tupac rocking my dunk lows and crew socks. How did we get here and where we even going, yo? How do we let the others see it started snowing on the other side of knowing? Misinformation growing from the oceans, flowing to the streams of consciousness. We sowing the seeds of greed, ignoring the needs of trees and humans that breathe to feed and breed. They wanna rock that bleeds, they wanna talk to me, but the uselessness is insincere. Awkwardly, they wanna rock that bleeds, no way they stopping me. Due to faulty wiring, I never got their themes.
Born essential as the spinal cord, ornamental these diamonds and gold. More incredible the higher he goes, believably low as dinosaur bones. This mad King Lear, his rap career, valid as the beer and cannabis here. That's the reason you have his ear, the cannabis and beer, nothing more. He's motivated by the substance of existence, this Spinozan, touching clitoris to nose again, contorting the body as the freak, letting this Aristophanes speak the truth to those in power, zooming in close to the sound of the words and counting these feet of verse, astounding greens and purples, leaves of myrtle and sweet berries, street charity these toonies, lunacy these loons and grebes, obliviously living their natural luxury, that not knowing we use drugs to perceive. As the sex and money this cocaine, entering the tunnel so brave, saving you the trouble of making your own outsider rap, inspiring the devout to write back, replying with their outsider rap tracks, riding the tidal wave at last, white as time traveled to the past, black as spiraling ashes. Pshaw, you dismiss this awful, ridiculous freestyling. Weird lines in the wind, this strange rapping. Aimless as the captain, Ahab attacking that Moby Dick, the holiest, that white whale in the infinite black sea. Simple as wrapping this tree into being, this mighty oak, rhymes that provoke your crazy life into strange strife, as the blade of the knife